In the last lecture, you learned how Angular encapsulates your styles. Now you can override this encapsulation though. If you go back to your code, to the server element component, you can add something to the add component decorator. It's called Encapsulation, this property, and there as a value you can access view encapsulation, which needs to be imported from add Angular core, so make sure to add this import. And then you can choose between 3 modes. Emulated is the default, so you don't need to add this. None, if you add this, would make sure that if we have a look at our component again, and we inspect our server element, that now in here, we don't see these strange attributes being added to our elements. Therefore, this component now does not use view encapsulation. The other components still will use it. There you still see these attributes. But if you now define any styles for this component in the CSS file of this component, they will actually get applied globally. And I can demonstrate this by going into this CSS file, and if I change the label color, and the label is in the cockpit, not in this component, to red, yeah, now you will see the label there is overwritten. Whilst this label of course still has its custom unique attribute, it still is a label in the end. And in this server element component, we disabled encapsulation. So there our selectors aren't changed by Angular. They don't receive their unique selector. Therefore, they are enforced, they are used application-wide, also affecting other components. Might be the behavior you want. Chances are that this is not the case, but it's important to know that you can change this behavior. Now, besides none, you also could choose native, and native uses the shadow DOM technology. This should give you the same result as before with emulated, but only in browsers which support it, which is why for most cases you want to choose emulated, but be aware that you could switch to non or native here too. So I will go back to emulated, which again you wouldn't have to add, it's the default anyways. With that, our label should no longer be red now. So that is how you can change it and how view encapsulation works. A nice tool ensuring that by default only your component receives the styles you define for it. But as you learned, it can be overwritten.